Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Dynasty Wonderland Podcast with me, the Mad Chatter Ryan MK, and of course, by my side, as always, the man, the salary Cap-tain, Aaron Stewart. How's it going, buddy?
Oh, doing good, man. We have survived Monday. I will say
Yes.
It was quite an adventurous day of work, but we got to end Monday with football. That's always a good day. How about you, bub?
Not too bad, man. Not too bad. Enjoying another day off, enjoying the foosball as well. Although kind of boring. Not anything too crazy. And then it got a little exciting in the fourth quarter. Saw a few fireworks in the fourth quarter. Bears almost pull off the upset. And which is nice to see. I wish they would have just done it because fuck the Steelers. And it would have been nice to see Fields get a win here. But it was not to be. So tell me, do you have any thoughts on the game, my friend?
I will admit that this game was not appealing to me at all. Neither team. I mean, on one hand, you got Roethlisberger, who's old and just not like it's got to be his last season. And on the other hand, you got Justin Fields, who is exciting. He's a rookie. And he's very much played like a rookie most of the season, and that means he hasn't been playing good. I'm like, I'm not so sure about this. But you and I discussed off the pod how it was kind of a boring game, but it got a little interesting late in the fourth quarter. And, my other takeaway really on this one was I should have been doing some bets on this game because nailed it with the spread. The Steelers were a 7-point favorite. I was like, I don't know about that. You actually have to be you got to be a good football team to cover a 7-point spread. Sorry.
No, go ahead.
But in terms of fantasy production, Pat Freiermuth, dual touchdowns right there. Allen Robinson showed something. He topped 10 fantasy points.
Yeah.
But what was it? Darnell Mooney, a pair of touchdowns too. One through the ground. So crazy that Mooney seems to be doing okay with Justin Fields.
Right.
Allen Robinson. So weird. You could just tell. He's gone. He is gone.
Yeah.
And at 3-6 now with the Bears, I guess the one thing to watch, not fantasy related, is the seat gets a little bit warmer.
Right.
For one, Matt Nagy. I promise. That's all I got. I don't really feel like there was anything more to cover, but I don't know. What do you have? Anything to add to that?
Not a whole lot. Like I said, I was kind of hoping to see the Bears pull off the comeback. Like to see Fields get a win in there. But overall, I think I wanted to see, one of the things I did want to see with this game was what would happen with the Bears running back situation with the return of David Montgomery. Because I'm like, Khalil Herbert's been damn good. Is he just going to get pushed to the background with the return of Montgomery? And the answer was pretty much yeah. Yeah. And because you got David Montgomery with 13 rushing attempts, Justin Fields had 8 himself, Khalil Herbert 4. So that's kind of a bummer. You'd like to see him be a little more involved as well as he played, Right. And don't get me wrong, David Montgomery's has had a good year as well. But I just feel like I should have got Herbert a little more involved. He was doing some special things in Montgomery's absence.
Right.
And more special than let's say 22 for 62, 2.8 average, like Najee Harris. I'm sorry. I just did not like this wedding from the beginning. And not that Najee Harris hasn't had some moments and some games, but this, it's I think it's not going as some people thought it would in year one. And then, you said Freiermuth. He actually took me out in a fucking one of my matchups. I just needed Freiermuth to not have a crazy game. And of course, excuse me, he did. Two touchdowns. Thank you, Pat
Crazy.
Fryermuth.
Crazy.
So,
Crazy.
but no, it's just kind of, two offenses that aren't anything special right now, that don't offer a lot of fantasy production. So I can't say I was overly into the game either, other than I wanted to see Justin Fields, and I wanted to see what would happen with the running back situation. And, we got what we got. And if not for a late taunting penalty, maybe the Bears pull it off. So it was just one of those games, and it was there, and it got a little exciting, but I still could have slept right fucking through it probably.
Right.
So, but yeah, man, that's all I got for this one. It was what it was.
And the Khalil Herbert thing is very annoying, because the truth is, if it was any competent head coach, it's like, yeah, Montgomery's back, and you're obviously going to play him, and he's going to get most of the work. But I feel like if you're a good offensive play caller, you find ways to get your playmakers onto the field and find ways to get touches for him. And that's just unfortunate, because Khalil Herbert has been, at times, I would say he's been the lone bright spot over the course of a 4 or 5 week period. Like, ever since David Montgomery's gone down with an injury, like, Fields has started to, in recent weeks, play well, but Khalil Herbert has been steady. You go back to, who was it they played? They played someone that had a really good run defense. And people are like, oh yeah, don't start Khalil Herbert. And he got well over 100 yards rushing, and the Bears were lost big in that game. I can't even think. Maybe it was Cleveland, I think. Don't quote me on that. But yeah, it's super sad to see Herbert get 4 carries. It's like, what are we doing here?
Yeah.
Put me in, coach. I mean, don't put me in the game.
Right.
Like, give me the headset. Let me call some plays.
I'm with you. Okay. Let's go ahead, and there are a couple of things I want to hit before we because we don't have a lot to talk about tonight. I mean, there wasn't Chase Edmonds left the game yesterday, Sunday, with an injury, but there wasn't, and Trevor Lawrence hurt his ankle, but there's not, any major injury news that I can think of, I believe, to really discuss. There is free agency news, as it kind of sounds weird. OBJ going through the waiver cycle today. There's a good chance we find out tomorrow if anybody claimed him, and if not, he's going to be free to sign somewhere. Sean Payton came out and said it would be impossible for him to come here, which that was one of the places that he was strongly connected to. So I'm not sure what that means. We'll have to see how that plays out. And then Desean Jackson, as we know, released by the Rams. He is now a Raider. So they got him, I guess, as a means to replace Mr. Henry Ruggs. And so there's a few teams, I think, in on Desean Jackson, but he's going to the Raiders. So I know that was another spot that was a potential suitor for OBJ, which, why? You have Brian Edwards. And I mean, it didn't make sense to me, but Desean Jackson does make sense for the Raiders. So maybe that will help them, because they had a bit of a stinker on Sunday, right? Maybe getting them that deep threat back helps them out a little bit. So we'll see what happens with the Raiders. We'll see what happens with OBJ. Otherwise, unless you've got anything else you'd like to add, we can move on to the Thursday night game. And which
do want
features...
to chip in with? Oh, sorry.
I
do want to chip in one thing with the Chase Edmonds. I was reading that it was high ankle sprain, so that is just horrible news. Because as we enter Week 10, really, that means for the rest of this season, you just he may play, because we've seen like Saquon Barkley play on a high ankle sprain and miss like 2 games, but temper expectations for that, because that's a nasty injury. And if Edmonds plays, oh boy, he may be a flex play at best. Like, I'm not sure if I'd feel comfortable at RB2, especially with what James Conner just did. Oh,
right.
man. And Conner's not going away. Leads the
No.
league in rushing touchdowns with 11, I believe. It's
I've
crazy stuff.
never been a James Conner fan, but I can't deny what he's doing. Like, he's not on Pittsburgh anymore. He's playing well, man. So like he's definitely, if you've got him rostered, I mean, in redraft leagues, you got him late or free or right off. You know what I mean? Like, this dude is producing. I mean, talk about out producing where you were drafted. Holy shit. So yeah, you got to be appreciative of James Conner, and the Terminator should be the man from here on out, I would think, because like you said, it's a bad injury. So yeah, I definitely think you're happy if you're rolling some James Conner, because he's going to be fine from here on out. So absolutely. Good point on that. But this Thursday, to kick off week 10, because technically we are now officially through the first half of the NFL season, 9 weeks in the books, 9 more to go. We begin week 10, Baltimore at Miami. And we'll see if Tua is available to play. But I don't think it fucking matters. We've talked a lot about these primetime games, man, where we personally kind of enjoy them because it's like, Sunday, there's so much going on with the game, but then you get these Monday night, Thursday night games, these standalone games. It's kind of nice to just sit and watch them. And we've been pretty lucky as far as entertainment value with these primetime games. Right. I'll be surprised if this one's competitive. Although the Ravens do sometimes play down to their competition. But I think the Ravens should just totally roll, and just play your Ravens. I mean, Lamar, Hollywood, he's continuing to have a hell of a year. And I do want to point out, there's a lot of these guys. I meant to bring it up in the pod last night. I'm not sure if I did or not, but we do need to look at these guys. We've looked at a lot of these, smaller, speedier receivers that don't have a lot of meat on their bones, or you know what I mean. So these guys are guys like Devonta Smith and Marquis Brown. They're playing well, man, and they really are. So, like Marquis Brown, I want to see some more out of Rashad Bateman. I just want to get that one big Rashad Bateman game. You know what I mean? Where it's just
we've been waiting for it.
There you are, motherfucker. So maybe we get it Thursday. But I do expect the Ravens to roll. What about you, buddy? What do you think about this game? What do you see coming from it?
I have certainly got some big expectations from the passing game from the Ravens, because one of the stats that I pulled on the Dolphins last week when the Texans were rolling it was, going into that game, Miami was the only pass defense that was allowing over 300 passing yards. That took a little bit of a hit. Thank you, Tyrod Taylor, and those air balls thrown into the end zone that were easy interceptions. But I digress.
Yeah, come on, Ty God.
Pardon me.
I wrote about you.
Right?
I thought you would be a step up. Houston might as well put Davis Mills back at. Sorry, I'm done. Go ahead, Aaron.
Right. And Texans fans will be right there with you. and yeah, we do have to put some respect on Marquis Brown's season here. What's remarkable is just, I have, of course, the ESPN NFL scoreboard to my left here. And when you glance through it, of course, gives the team leaders at positions. Marquis Brown is the leader for the Ravens. And the next one that pops up for me, of course, since I'm a Cowboys fan, it brings up the Cowboys game, and it's like Marquis Brown has outproduced CeeDee Lamb this season. The next one is the Chiefs, and this is crazy. Same amount of touchdowns, 90 less yards than Tyreek Hill on 22 fewer receptions. It's like Marquis Brown, as you pointed out, it may be a little quiet and doesn't quite get the recognition, but Marquis Brown's having a really good season. And you know what? We love to see it, because I think I could speak for both of us on this, because we're both analytics guys. Don't tend to like super small receivers, low BMI. I mean, Marquis Brown's skinny guy. And we thought, cool, he could be a deep threat, but those usually aren't safe production for fantasy production.
Yeah, very boomer bust.
Yeah, but Marquis Brown having a really, really good season.
Yeah.
For the Dolphins, the thing I am debating on is the spread here is 7.5 points in favor of the Ravens, obviously, but it is a road game. I usually don't like to touch really large spreads in favor of the road team. And you mentioned the points why on that one. The Ravens, they play to the level of their competition. They go against the Chiefs early in the season, then they're coming out firing and able to come from behind and win. When they go against a Minnesota Vikings team, they sleepwalk through like 2.5 quarters and then decide to start playing football when they're down like
Detroit. It happened when they played Detroit. They won like 19-17 or something, and
they almost lost the game.
Yeah, and I believe it was in Detroit. And Detroit's pretty feisty. I mean, for their record, they play pretty hard. So I mean, but still, it's like you'd like to see them take care of business, when playing those teams. But they do find a way to win regardless. So, but yeah. They don't always blow out the bad teams. So
right. And for this particular game, that's really it. I will be watching this one, not so much because I think it's going to be a good game, but Lamar Jackson is like one of like 3 or 4 players when if he's playing, I'm doing my best to find that game to watch because Jackson's just so much fun. Like anyone that goes, oh, he's not a good quarterback or not a good passer, I'm like, I don't care. Like it's crazy. It's just fun to watch him do what he does on the field because no one else can.
He's entertaining as all hell, even if he wasn't the greatest passer. But he's proven this year that he can sling the ball around. I mean,
right.
They're just it's a different offense, and part of that was out of necessity. But we talked about how we were going to see more throwing out of this team this year. We talked a lot about that, and that's what we've got. Like I said, not quite the path we thought it'd take
right.
because it's more out of necessity, but still, this is what we're getting. Lamar's throwing the ball well. Marquis Brown is benefiting. Mark Andrews is having a bit of a more positive, I was going to say bounce back year, because I do feel like he just wasn't, is it last year I'm thinking of? He just wasn't quite there. But, and then you got Rashad Bateman. So, I mean, and even Rashad Bateman's had some good games. So, like I said, still waiting for that big breakout. But, I mean, this passing game for the Ravens is going well. It's going well. And so, yeah, and I'm with you, man. I talk about it all the time. Lamar Jackson. My wife knows Lamar Jackson because she knows that's one dude that I just love to watch play football. I did him, and then she'll hear me talk about, I always say I got a Chubb for Chubb and a Chubb for Nick Chubb. So there's certain players my wife knows because I profess my love for them often. So Lamar Jackson, he's one of them. Can't wait to watch you on Thursday night, my guy.
Love it. I would love it. And that's all I got for Thursday Night Football. You
that's
got
all I got
to add to it? Perfect.
Yeah. All right. Well, that's our nice, quick little Monday pod. You got any final thoughts? Anything else you want to throw out there before we wrap it up, my friend?
Let me give you one interesting stat that I discovered this morning.
Please do.
The New York Jets had their bye week in week 6.
Mm-hmm.
When they came back from their bye week, they have allowed 5 top 5 weekly fantasy performances to the running back position.
Oh, shit.
And if you're doing that math, we just got out of week 9. So that's 3 weeks. They have allowed 5 top 5 running backs. How is that even possible? Except, thank you. I will give you the names. So week 7 was the massive Patriots game where they just got destroyed. They can't stop the run. So that was the Damian Harris and Brandon Bolden had the big game. Week 8 was the Bengals game. Joe Mixon finishing as like RB2. And then this past week where Jonathan Taylor was RB2 on the week and Nyheim Hines, I guess I think he still finished as RB5. I don't think Najee Harris scored quite enough points to bump him out. So there you go. Top 5 running back performances in a 3-week span. And I had to look. I said, who are they playing this week? It's the Buffalo Bills.
I was going to say they play the Bills, who just have a joke of a run. And don't get me wrong, like I talked about that. We talked about that in the pod yesterday. Like, I know Devin Singletary's had some moments. Zach Moss has had some moments. But if you look realistically, those guys are both like RB2s. They should be complementary backs to a more studlier back. But instead, they're a tandem, and so it's just not you're going to have moments, but it's just not the most productive running game. And so they seem ill-equipped to take advantage of this by the Jets. And wouldn't it be fucked if the Bills lost another one? Because I'm telling you, I'm kind of worried about it. I was listening to some stuff, and man, there was something else I was listening to about one of the teams we were talking about yesterday. But I can't fucking remember. Oh, lots of people were bitching about the 49ers, which I've been doing for some weeks now. But what the hell we were talking about? Oh, the Bills. I find it concerning, man. This concerns me a little, this team.
It is remarkable. I'm looking at the conference standing this year. You have 2, 4, 6, 8, 9 teams that are separated by half a game. Currently, the Chargers, they give them the number 3 seed at 5-3, and the Denver Broncos, who, as I discussed when it broke my heart, destroyed my Cowboys yesterday, and the Broncos are, 11th place. Like, that's how crazy we talked about this off the pod, but the Bengals 2 weeks ago were 5-2 and on top of their division. They lose 2 games, and they are last place in their division. Right. But every single team in the AFC North has a winning record. Yeah. It just goes to show that the AFC, they talk about how all the good teams are in the NFC. Hard to really argue that. But the AFC is interesting because what's the playoffs right now? Tennessee looks honestly like the only safe team. I say that because Baltimore, I know they're 6-2.
I'm still sticking with Baltimore. I'm still sticking with Baltimore.
They're 6-2, but their plus and minus is plus 26.
I know. I do. Their defense will be okay as long as their defense isn't awful. They'll be okay. They got Lamar Jackson. I honestly, there's something about the team. They just keep finding ways to. I wouldn't be surprised if the Ravens won the title this year. I really wouldn't. Ooh. I feel like Lamar Jackson's on a fucking mission right now. So, and I know I'm a little bit blinded by my love for the dude, but I'm just saying there's something about the Ravens this year. They kind of stick out to me as the team in the AFC, but it's hard to deny what the Titans are doing, even without Derrick Henry. Right. But the Bills, man, I'm worried because if they somehow follow the Jets, they're in a lot of trouble. And I heard somebody kind of comparing them to the Chiefs, where it's almost like defenses have kind of figured the offenses out. And they were talking about Josh Allen is one of the lowest as far as quarterbacks with yards per attempt. And like he's just, which wasn't happening last year. He was launching the ball. And it's almost like they've taken, how did somebody put it? I'm trying to think of, and I should give credit, but I can't remember which fucking podcast I heard it on. But somebody was like, it's like they're taking away the pass and daring them to run, and they can't do it. And they're talking about the Chiefs and the Bills. Like they noticed it with the Chiefs, and now you're starting to notice it with the Bills. Like, go ahead and run the ball. Oh, you can't. Yeah. And so it's, I don't know. It's going to be interesting, but hey, halfway through the NFL season. So we got our second half to go. Anything can fucking happen these next 9 weeks. And everything we say here could be rendered pointless. So it makes no difference. Still 9 weeks to go.
Love it. Yeah. But as you pointed out, wow, made it through the first half. And the second half only gets more interesting because as we discussed, these playoff races are gonna get a little crazy.
Yeah, it's gonna be fun this year for sure. There's because I would really say on both sides. I mean, anytime you start thinking there's a really dominant team, they get knocked down a peg. Like the Rams, it was like, yeah, okay, Rams probably, you got the Rams and Cards up there at the top of the NFC, and then Rams just said, boom. They get drilled yesterday, and it's like, okay, bring the Rams back down to earth a little bit, So I don't know. It doesn't seem like there's anybody down. It's going to be fun. It's going to be fun.
Absolutely.
We're going to have a good second half of the season. So, all right, my friend. Well, I have nothing else to say. If you do, please speak it now. Otherwise, we will head off into our evenings.
No more football stuff. But as always, when we end these podcasts, if you enjoyed the show, please like, please subscribe. If you're watching on YouTube, give us a follow too. Give us a follow on our social medias. We're both on Twitter. You can find me at AaronStew09. Of course, our podcast, we have a Twitter page for that. That's at DW_pod. And then Ryan, go ahead, give them your Twitter handle.
At RMK Madness. That's right. All right, everybody. We're getting the hell out of here. It's time. It is time. But it was a fun pod. Nice little quick pod. Lots of good stuff. Hope you all enjoy. We're getting the hell out of here. Stay safe. Stay vigilant. Stay mad. From the chatter and the captain. Until next time, Madcaps.